Hey everybody, my name is Danny J along with LeGrand Jackson, and coming to us over there in South Carolina we got Matt Sunner. Welcome to another edition of Capes Not Included. Remember, hit the subscribe button right below the video here. Subscribe to DJB Productions on YouTube and make sure you enjoy all the great shows, including this one right here.
That's right.
Today we got a great show. As you can see behind us, we're very, very celebratory. We're going to be talking about the toys of the 80s. And so, we're going to check it out, the stuff that we grew up with, the stuff that we loved. We're going to talk about toys now in comparison, imaginative play, the whole 9 yards, right here on Capes Not Included. So we're going to check that out today. My fondest memories of toys in general, and you guys could probably concur as well, was the Sears catalog.
Oh, yeah. The
Sears catalog was where I found exactly what I needed, and the presentation in the Sears catalog was that of when someone did a famous window for Macy's, like say in New York or something like that. Like there were presentation that was unbelievable. And the one that stands out to me, in all fairness, I mean, we're being funny with this and all, but was He-Man. When He-Man was first presented in the Sears catalog, it was a savage land, and you see this barbarian there, and he's fighting the skull-faced foe, his adversary, and it was like, wow, like this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I immediately went to my parents. I said, I got to have this stuff. I got to have this. I got to have that. I got to have this. I got to have that castle. And I didn't even know what they were about, but I'm like, this is just so cool. And it was so manly, and it was so like the adventures were like bouncing out of my head. And I think the reason why we got so much out of the toys was imaginative play was very, very high when we were kids.
Yes.
Nowadays, the kids don't have imaginative play. And I say this all the time. Some people say, no. I'm like, no, you're full of shit, because of the digital age of being able to get sucked into Skylanders, to get sucked into Grand Theft Auto and all these other video games, and even like the aspect of like, well, you can get a figurine that helps you play the video game.
Right.
It's still not imaginative play.
Yeah. Everybody's still working the story out for you, and you're just following along. You're interacting with the story, but you're not making the story yourself.
No, you're not.
When we were kids, we would get like the old, the little green army men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we would have 4-hour adventures with guys stuck in this position.
Non-posable figurine.
Yeah.
And nowadays, if you give that to most of these kids, they have nothing. They look at it.
No clue.
Like little babies will chew it for a second and throw it.
Yeah.
And they won't even keep it. You know what I mean? And we had for hours. I played Army Men for hours. And let me tell you something. I'm not a military type of guy. I have friends that are like, I'm so in the military. I love watching Army shows. And, I want to go in the military. But I wasn't that. But Army Men, I was able to say for hours in my parents' basement and set up wars and stuff. And I had my favorite ones, and I had my generals, and I had all that stuff. But the imagination was so vivid and so wild that I really can make anything. I can remember, honestly, my mom was a very religious person. And when I was roughly 2-3 years old, she used to hand me, to keep me occupied above anything else, used to hand me her little statue of Jesus, like a little plastic statue of Jesus. And I would fly him around as if he was Super Jesus. And I remember this. I mean, I have very vivid memories of when I was about 3, not before that, but when I was 3 on up. And I remember I used to fly Jesus around, and he was just like this, he was a statue. A religious statue going like this. And I was like, hey, Superman, it's me, Super Jesus, and let's go do this and do that. And like, I had these adventures. And
that's awesome.
My kids don't do any of this stuff. I don't do anything at all. You know what I mean? But my Ava does. My Ava does have adventures to a point, but she's autistic. And it's like, it took her to be autistic to have imaginative play, which cracked me the fuck up. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
And the friend, what's really crazy? And because I do a lot of work with autistic kids, and I volunteer with the Special Olympics and all that. they have a greater sense of wonder and amazement and imagination than the quote unquote regular kids do.
Yeah.
Which is, I hate doing that, but that's the way they try to label them.
Yeah.
But I love it because it brings me back to when we were growing up and the world was open. You'd have your G.I. Joes fighting your Transformers with He-Man on backup. And if like you say you lost the toy weapon or whatever, what was the first thing you did? You grabbed a stick and put it in his hand, and all of a sudden it became a blaster.
Yeah.
Or a sword, you know?
And it's the truth. And let me tell you something, making the figures close in size. Yeah. I had G.I. Joe fighting Robotech.
Yes.
I had Robotech fighting Voltron. You know what I mean? And in those fashions. And then I had Voltron.
Which Voltron line it was.
Right.
They had the little tiny ones too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I had the lines, but it had the ones with the figures that went inside. Yeah. So and then fuck all them. You go to like a dollar store where you get like the dollar store guys. And they were the same size as G.I. Joe.
The rip-off G.I. Joe dudes from the dollar store.
Right? And I was like, we were sending them out first. They were the red shirts. Them motherfuckers are going out first. You're going to test the orders, son of a bitch.
Go ahead, Commando guy number 5.
You're gonna go find the weakness in the enemy line so we can exploit it.
Gonna get your ass capped in the bush. You know?
Gung Ho, Roadblock, all you guys stay Bazooka, Flint, Lady J. No, you don't go.
You don't
We're
go.
We're gonna send Hat Guy.
I know it's funny that we were so
bullets and blaster bolts cost money. The dead don't.
Yeah, right?
You get like Lady J and Scarlet, and they're like, "Yeah, let them get captured." You know what I mean? We gotta go rescue the women. You know what I mean? That's what we used to do. But the stuff like He-Man and G.I. Joe and Transformers, and that's another thing too. We talk about Transformers. Like Transformers was such a big thing.
God. Those first generation Transformers were the best. And I'm sorry, all the new ones that are coming out, they've got too many. They really have too many. They don't have any of the really good ones like we had that take like a few seconds to transform. Now it's like, oh, well, you just pop this up and then twist this, and it's like, what the hell is that?
But you know what, though? No, they have other ones where, because my nieces had got them, and my daughter had got one, where there were different levels of transforming action, and you needed a fucking
a PhD.
You needed a PhD to transform this fucking thing. And I was like, Optimus Prime, his legs popped out, his arms went like this, and his things came up, and he was like, and then there was his head. That was it. He transformed. This thing was, you had to take this off, spin this around, wrap it up his ass, go out his ass into his crotch, and then pop his head from his ass to his head. Because it was. I said, why is it so hard?
Dude,
by the time he transformed, the whole war is over.
You forget we had triple changers. We had
the triple changers. Oh, I love the triple changers.
Changers. It was like 4-6 changers.
Yeah.
It went from everything from like a robot to like a remote control for your TV. It was awesome.
You know,
my favorite triple changer was Decepticon Blitzwing. He was the robot, the tank, and the plane.
Blitzwing and Astro Train.
Astro Train. Yeah. Say the train that turned into a space shuttle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then from a space shuttle, he went. Was it just the two?
Yeah, it was the robot, the train, and the shuttle.
Robot, the train, and the shuttle. Yeah.
Then you had Octane.
Yes.
Robot.
And I never had the combiners. Like I didn't have the Destructicons or any of them, or I didn't have the Stunticons or the aerial bots. I didn't have any of them because they did come out with them. They came out with all of them.
Yeah.
I think in
no Skylinks, nothing.
Nah, I had the Dinobots. I had all the Dinobots.
All right, TF Force. They have a website.
Yeah.
Where they did the ultimate. All the Dinobots create one big robot.
Oh, get out!
I want to buy it.
I think they should have created. And you know what the funny thing is? If you like, when I looked at my old ones, they had, and I don't know if there were compartments just to put their weapons in, but they had stuff that made no sense.
Yeah.
That opened up, and I'm like, and I should think maybe they combine in some way, and I should try and get like Snarl and Grimlock, and I'm like, nah, this just looks like gay sex. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know what's happening here, you know? But it didn't work, you know? But it didn't work. And Grimlock mad, Grimlock not drop soap anymore, you know? It's why Grimlock not bathe. You know, it's like, but it was such a cool thing because I had all the Dinobots. I had Grimlock, I had Swipe, Snarl, Swoop, and some other people. I don't know who it was. And then, you know, I had Optimus Prime, and then I had Cliffjumper and Bumblebee. And Cliffjumper and Bumblebee, it was kind of cool because they kind of kept them relative in size.
Right.
When you think about it, because the Cliffjumper was like he was like, I don't know what the fuck he was, like a Chevette. What the fuck was he?
It was like basically a small little compact car.
He was a little compact car, but I couldn't tell what he was. He had a spoiler. He was the cooler of the two. I always liked Cliffjumper more than I liked Bumblebee. Because Bumblebee was like just a little Volkswagen bug.
It turned into Gold Bug later on.
Yeah, he did. And he still didn't get as good gas mileage. Gold Bug. Get the fuck out of here. I'd rather be Gold Bumblebee.
You know the one that upset me the most? Huffer. Huffer was a tough little bastard.
Yeah.
And he was also a tractor trailer. But he was as small as Bumblebee.
Yeah, like how did that work?
Yeah.
Like, the tractor trailer, like that's where it kind of was off. And GoBots did the same thing. GoBots had GoBots this big and then GoBots this big. And like the Leader 1 was this big. And then Psycho was like this fucking big. And then there was Psycho. Remember Psycho was the black and silver car?
Yeah.
And he had a head like it looked like Danger Will Robinson. Was it a female? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he, you know, but then you had Crusher, who was the girl on the cartoon. She was the Formula One racer. She was small. And then you had Scooter. Scooter was the size of the fucking Leader 1.
Right.
He was a fucking scooter, but he was the size of a fucking
F1.
Fucking stupid shit.
F-15 Tomcat.
You know what I mean? Because that's what happened. Look at them dancing. They're having a great time. They're nice. But
yeah, I mean, but you figure between Transformers, all the Star Wars toys.
Yeah.
Star Wars, I mean, X-Wing fighter. The Millennium Falcon, which took up like a 30-year living room.
Dude,
you know,
couch cushion.
Yeah, I mean that thing was. I mean that you're talking about a toy that can fit like 8 of 6-inch figures standing inside of it. You know,
and when you think about it, that wasn't really heard of back then either.
Yeah.
Like that was like the big thing to say you can actually have your figures inside this. You don't have to pretend. I had one friend, and I don't even remember who that friend was. And I only saw the thing literally for about 15 minutes, but he had the USS Flag.
Oh, yeah.
It was nicknamed the coffee table because it was larger than
7 foot.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Or 6 foot, something.
It was. It was just short of 6 feet.
Yeah.
But the USS Flag. This is me remembering. Back then, it retailed for like $120.
Yeah,
and you can, and back in the 80s, yeah, hell yeah. And you could fit short of 40 characters inside it.
Yeah.
40
that was the Grand Poobah.
That was just inside it. And then a host of others on the top. I could put my Sky Striker on there. I could put, I put like 2 Sky Strikers on there and a couple of the helicopters with Wild Bill.
Yes.
And all that. Yeah, man. It was awesome.
It's all it's like your rich friends that with a finished basement that the only thing that ever happened was you. That's where you played, you know.
Well, it's funny you say that because when Christmas time came around, like we had the Sears catalog, we mentioned that earlier on in the episode. But the my parents would say, "All right, go through with your pen, circle you want, fold the page over,
oh yeah,
and then we'll make it happen." I said, "Okay," you know, and once again, they didn't just present it like it was Clover. Where here's the toy, it's on a white background, and here's the book. It wasn't like that. They presented the fuck out of these toys.
All types of like background images
and almost like the commercial come to life in the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what sold me on He-Man above anything else. But then we had the Superpowers collection, which was all the DC superheroes with the power action. I had got all them. I got all kinds of stuff, and I went through and I would do. And my parents spoiled me. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't grow up as a spoiled person, but my parents spoiled me. They spoiled all of us, and I was the baby of the family, so I got whatever the fuck I wanted. And you did, yeah. And then
I was the only child, so
yeah, there you go, right? So I remember. So my parents, especially my mom, she did not like to deal with trash and stuff like that. So it was like, Dan, go to bed. So Santa can come. And then that's when they unloaded everything, and they took everything out of the packages and they set it up and stuff like that. Like my brother's about 6 years older than me, and he would set stuff up and do all kinds of stuff and get it ready for me. And then
AKA playing with it before you got it,
pretty much.
Yeah.
And what happened was like we had our tree upstairs, but like we had a finished basement. Matt's been in my parents' house, and we had the finished basement all. And one year they said, Dan, all your stuff is down the basement because you had too much to be up here. And when I went down, a wall, and I'm talking, the wall had to be 20 feet of wall, nothing but toys set up. The Secret Wars, because we had the Marvel Secret Wars.
You son of a bitch.
The fucking the Hall of Justice with all the fucking the DC Superpowers collection, Robotech.
I still want that fucking Batmobile.
Yeah,
from the Superpowers collection.
Oh
I still want that.
I have it.
You do?
I have all that shit.
Oh, shit.
The only thing that's not in great condition is my Hall of Justice.
Okay.
Because I took it apart. I used to have G.I. Joe guys go inside that thing. But
Dan has his daughter's college tuition basically tucked away somewhere.
Yeah, and she's never going to go to college.
Because he's never getting rid of it.
I'll die. And it's like, well, what the fuck did you do with it? I didn't get rid of it, though. It's just a sense that I still own it. You know what I mean?
Bury it with me.
But the thing was, like, the stuff that was that I had stuff that I did not even open. That was Christmas. I didn't open it until spring. Because it got buried in the other stuff that I was playing with. And I had the G.I. Joe Hiss tank and Wild Bill and the Dragonfly copter. And, and then I had a tank. I think I had a tank of some sort. And then I had Robotech, and I had the Robotech, which was a real big one. That his motorcycle became armor.
It like folded
up and went on top of his head and stuff like that. I had that. And then getting into the funny thing was about toys of the 80s, stuff like that. I had got a thing, and we were just talking about this before the show started, was this thing called Mangalore, right?
That piece of shit.
This thing was proposed that it was some kind of like swamp thing looking thing.
You rat bastards.
You got this thing, and he could stretch, right? And he could stretch, and he can be mangled up, and then it was almost like memory foam. I forget what the actual material was, but it was actually kind of like memory foam.
It was made out of bullshit.
It was made out of bullshit. It was. You could tie him in a knot, and he would just return right back to this thing. So he didn't move, like he was like this.
It was like a reject Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah. But he wasn't even battle. His arms were just straight down, and he was this green dude or whatever. And they had a backstory and all kinds of stuff because everything came with comic books back then and stuff like that. And there was this play set where he came out of this mountain thing, which was almost like a torture device. It was like a cage, right?
Yeah.
And then you had the slime, and kids, for whatever reason, I always marketed slime to kids. I don't know what it was. And you poured the slime over top of them to make them slimy. Right?
So fuck up your carpet.
Fuck up your carpet, because let me tell you something, the shit smelled so god awful.
It was horrible.
And I spilled, it was like a container about this big, like an 8-inch glass, like an 8-ounce glass of slime is what it was. And I spilt that shit on my carpet, and let me tell you, my mom beat the shit out of me. That shit never came up. Nope. It made the carpet hard and crusty
and discolored.
And it smelled. It was like formaldehyde. It smelled like, right? So I poured this fuck. I said, "Oh, Mangalore," and here's the thing: you could tear him apart and put him back together. How cool is that, folks? Now you have a toy that you can really destroy and put right back together, and he's back in action again. So the first thing I do is I set up the thing, I smell this nasty fucking slime. I poured a slime on him. I spilled it. I go, my mom's gonna kill me. And she did. She smacked the shit out of me. Right. And then I go in there and I'm like, I'm slimy. And I'm like, it is sticky. And I'm stretching him. And I'm like, watch this. Oh, somebody pulled his arm off. And I rip his arm off. And I'm like, funny. Let me put it back. Drop. Third time. This fucking thing sucked, right? I never played with it again.
Dude,
back
then it was like $7 for that fucking Mangalore piece of shit. Let me tell you something, you creators of Mangalore. I fucking hate you.
You creators of Mangalore.
I had my mom.
Like the Mangaloo.
I would mangle the fuck out of you right now. I had my mom convinced after watching your fucking commercials, you pieces of shit. And she said that I could either get the Mangalore figure or my Hulk Hogan rock and wrestling figure. And I figured Mangalore was cooler because I could destroy it and put it back together. Right. So I got your pieces of shit. You red bastard.
It was horrible. Horrible. They went out of business.
Fuck them. They good. Good.
Yeah, they went out of business.
Good. They deserved
not long after that toy, because that toy was horrible. It was just a big giant lie.
That's all it was.
They never fucking went back together.
You got my $16.
But it was one of those things where, you know,
did we lose Matt?
Growing up, no, Matt.
No, I'm here.
That's there. We lost your video feed.
Yeah. I'm trying to mess with something.
Oh, you turned the lights out. Okay. There you go.
You turn off the lights.
But a lot of things I did too back then. It's funny how you mentioned Hulk Hogan and stuff like that. Like wrestling figures were big back then, and LJN had the big rubber WWF dolls, right. But the cool thing was, and I lived near Mapes 5 and 10, and they had those generic wrestlers.
Which one? The He-Man looking ones?
Kinda. They were smaller than He-Man. Everybody had like a loincloth, right? But they just painted it to make it look like it were tights. And they were guys like the Killer Bandit, the American Eagle, Terrible Tony, the Gorilla Man.
All the garbage pail kids' names.
Yeah, they realized what they were. But they all came with championship belts.
Everybody was a champ.
Everybody had a championship belt.
Freaking belt marks.
And they were great because at the time I had the AWA Battle Royal set.
Okay.
From Remco. And that was like, it had a red can. I had two of them. I had the gray canvas one, which came with all the wrestlers.
Right.
And then I had the steel cage one, which was the red canvas.
Right.
Instead of the brown canvas. And it was a perfect size for these wrestlers because these wrestlers were smaller than Remco. The Remco guys were too big really for the ring. It wasn't like size coordinated, but this was coordinated for that ring. It was nice. And I used to play that. And back then we used to watch wrestling from like the world class championship
from
wrestling.
7 a.m.
right
until 11 p.m.
And we had like wrestling from Texas Stadium, which was outside. So you're watching these guys wrestle in the sunlight. It wasn't in an arena. So I should take my wrestlers out in the front step, and I would, play like it was Texas Stadium with all these guys. And then inside, we watched wrestling, like you said, all night. And 6:05, you had to watch NWA World Championship Wrestling on TBS. So we had a console TV with a lamp on top of the TV. And on my mother's grave, this is what I used to do. And this comes back to imaginative play, okay? And kids do not do this or know how to do this anymore. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this. I would sit in front of the TV so I could watch wrestling. And I would have my wrestlers there, and I would take the lampshade and I would pull it up like this so it shined down as a spotlight on my wrestlers, right?
Yeah.
And we had a little greasy spoon, like a Greek pizza, steak, hoagie type of place near us. And like the Greek pizza, if you know what Greek pizza is like, it's where the cheese is so thick that you can pick it up and throw it like a frisbee.
Yes.
Pretty
much. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't like tear apart. It's like smashed together. You know what I mean? Almost like ground beef. It's like the equivalent. It's equivalent of making a hamburger or ground beef, but you did it with cheese. You know what I mean? That's what Greek pizza ends up being like. So it's like a solid mass. You can't even get to the dough or the sauce underneath. So I used to order this pizza from there, a small pizza, which would be like a little 10-inch pizza or whatever. And I used to get my wrestlers, and I would lightly rub them on top of the pizza because it had grease on it. So when it came up in the light, it looked like they were sweating, right?
Oh, they're all oiled up.
Right? And they're all oiled up, and they got the icy hot on and shit, and all kinds of stuff, right? And then I would bite my cuticle, right? I would bite my cuticle back so that I would start bleeding, and I would squash the blood on their faces so that enough blood that it would like drip down their face. So it looked like, oh, he got busted open. And I used to do that so that way I could later on take a little bit of soap and water, wash them, and they were like brand new again.
Right.
Because I had friends who used to take red pen, draw their guys, and then their guys were destroyed.
Right.
They had a red face from that point on. So I used to literally bleed for my craft. I used to literally, my mom used to watch me do this. And she's like, I don't know. Should I talk to somebody? I don't know what he's doing.
Jesus Christ, Danny, what the fuck are you doing?
And it was funny.
And unfortunately, too, that's what a lot of parents would do to their kids. They're like, look, what the fuck are you doing?
What
is wrong with you? Knock that shit off. And that's where it all stops.
God love my mom though, because one time I had a girlfriend came over, and she came over, and I was playing with my wrestlers.
Jesus Christ, Danny, what the fuck are you doing?
Understand, folks, I played with wrestlers up until my first daughter was born, and that was 14 years ago. So now I was in my 30s, still playing with wrestlers, like on my lounge chair, watching wrestling and having matches on my lap. You know what I mean? In the wrestling ring. But like I had a girlfriend come over the house, and she came over, and I was on the porch playing with my wrestlers, and she makes a comment like, "Oh my God, who am I dating? I'm dating a guy who's playing with toys." My mom's like, "He could be playing with other girls. Get over it."
And that's what made your mom so cool.
Bam! I was like, yes, that's what you do. But I used to combine all that stuff. Like I had the A-Team figures.
Yeah.
And I used to pretend like, and that was the thing, like you talk about imaginative play, is like you didn't have to like do what was told to you by the cartoon or by the show or stuff like that.
You did what you
wanted. Like I used to pretend like I remember very vividly, I used to get my Hannibal Smith action figure, which was like the size of a G.I. Joe. And he got hit with some kind of laser beam in a science accident. And that when he gets angry, he turned into a parademon from fucking DC. You know what I mean? Because I really had no use for the parademon, because they were like, you had to buy like 8 of them instead of just one. Garbage. You always needed like more than one. So I used to pretend like he turned into a parademon. He used to fucking go out, and people had to hunt him down and shit like that. And I used to have these type of adventures with these toys. And I used to actually, I don't know about you guys, but and this comes back to me also going eventually into college and being a script writer and stuff like that. I used to like put limitation on certain scenarios. Like in other words, like, well, the good guys have this, but they don't have that, and they're never going to get that. And that's why the bad guys have an advantage over these guys. And unfortunately, there is no way out of this scenario because you don't have this. You know what I mean? And we have to figure something else out. And I used to force myself, because it was very easy to do. Oh, well, I have now superpower grip. Oh, and I won. No, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like I literally say yes, no, yes, no, and make sure that like I was having this compelling story being told through these action figures. And it shaped a lot of how I became a writer and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the beautiful thing too, as you say, with imaginative play. We used to look at not only the whatever toy we were playing with at that time, we would look at other toys we were playing with, other toys that were in the stores, and that would give us other ideas on how to play with certain toys, even if we didn't have the other toy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, perfect example, when Dukes of Hazzard was big, it was probably like a 124 to 120/16 scale plastic generally. It wasn't even the official one.
Hollow body, right?
Was it the one that the roof opened?
No. It was one we got. It was one actually. I remember I got it at Woolworth. So I mean, it wasn't even an official generally. It didn't say generally on it. It just had the Dixie flag on it. Had the Confederate battle flag on top, and it didn't even have an 01 for copyright. It had a 07 on it. So I even like took a razor blade and cut the edge off of it, so it was a 1. But it was cool because it was a larger scale. And then I remember again later on being at Woolworths or whatever, and then they had that same Dodge Charger, but they had it in blue, and they put a set of police lights on it.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, when I'm getting home, I'm thinking about like, oh, with my General Lee and the Dukes of Hazzard, it's like, what if with all the crazy stuff that Boss Hogg is doing, all this corruption he's got going on, what if the Duke boys are actually working with the FBI to gather evidence to take this guy down? So next thing you know, I'm at home, I'm playing, I've got the General Lee chasing Roscoe, because it's like, guess what? You're going down now. We're actually federal agents, and we're coming after you now.
The Hazard toys, when they came out, like they had the figures, once again, the same size as G.I. Joe. The General Lee had the Dixie flag opened up so you could slide them into the car.
Yep.
I had Roscoe P. Coltrane and the cop car, but the cop car wasn't the cop car that you saw on the TV show. It was a 55 Chevy Bel Air. You know what I mean? That was the mold. So it almost looked like a taxi cab. Motherfucker, when I tell you, I actually, for a short period of time, played, I'm a taxi cab driver. I'm going to go to the airport and pick people up. I swear to God, like the most non-amusing thing to play. Oh, I got to go to the airport. Got to pick people up. And, I'm in a taxi. Okay, here's your taxi, everybody.
But I mean, that's what made it fun. I love too. Like if we're going to talk about real quick about Dukes of Hazzard toys, did you have the barn playset?
Yes. No, I did not.
You did.
The barn playset was great. The General Lee was about like this big. It had little cones coming off the tires, so it had a ramp that went up to one side, so it would jump over it.
Yeah.
And it would go in the front of the barn, and it had these little ramps, so the little tabs on the outside of the wheels would catch that, and it would come out the other side of the barn doing a wheelie. And I mean, that thing was awesome. That thing was it was the smallest, almost rinky dink. I mean, the scale wasn't right. The car was all shortened and stubby and all, but it was still cool as hell to play with.
Dude, I had the Dukes of Hazzard slot car set.
I did not have the Dukes of Hazzard slot car set, unfortunately.
You went around in the figure eight, and then you came around and you made the jump and landed on the other side.
I remember that.
So the best part about the slot cars, I could buy extra police cars. So I would have Roscoe and Cletus chasing the General Lee. Around. It was awesome.
Slot cars were awesome. My brother had such a huge.
I had slot cars. I had
combine it with his train set. Like he had a big work table, a huge work table, where he did and he went all out. He got the AstroTurf paper, and he made the towns, and he had the train, and then outside the train was the highway, which was the slot cars, right? And we used to go to the hobby shop and just buy a car. I remember on Sundays we used to go and used to get a new car like every Sunday. And there were certain ones that were better than others because of the way they fit in the slot car. Because you had certain ones that had the pin,
and then someone had the thick like a blade.
Right? Yeah. And that was some amazing shit back in the day. And the funny thing is, these kids now, they don't know none of it. It's about your phone. It's about your iPhone. Now the kid's going to have an iPhone.
Yeah, I mean, I got my son a slot car track a couple of years ago, and he's enjoyed it. I mean, I think we've only set it up twice, just because unfortunately it's like we set it up in the living room, and now the dog wants to chase the car around, so it's like you can't play because then all of a sudden the dog is stepping on the track and screwing it all up. And unfortunately, I have nowhere else to put it. I mean, I even tried making a platform for it. I was going to make a platform in sections and, bolt it to the top of a folding table I had. But of course, the table's not too big, whatever. So unfortunately, it's one of those things where it's been kind of tucked away for a little bit. We haven't messed with it, but he's enjoyed it a little bit. But
that's a good son-father project.
Yeah, it's one of those things that when I finally get the garage cleared out, which will probably be another 2 years, and by the time I do, it's probably not going to care anymore. But yeah, it's because I know that's what I had for my slot car track. It was in the basement.
Yep.
We had it set up. They said have the AstroTurf paper on there, and then I would have the infield, all my Hot Wheels cars.
Yeah.
All the Hot Wheels cars in there. So I had the Hot Wheels, my fire truck, my ambulance, the tow truck. Then you just had all your other cars. So it's you had your spectators, you had your safety crew. And I mean, my slot cars, I had
the thing about that, especially with the trains too, to buy the buildings, we had a KFC.
Yeah,
it was Geno's back then.
Geno's.
It was Geno's Chicken back then. We had the 76 gas station.
Chicken served great burgers.
Right?
Yeah, they did.
They did.
Yeah, they had fantastic burgers.
Back in the
and kids will never know that. Kids today will never know the magic of a Geno's.
You know, and then he had the Chattanooga Choo Choo where he poured the stuff in and made the smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
The train, he had that, and then like he had when you got it was like Tycho and it was RC.
Mm-hmm.
Did the were the two main? Tycho was the main one.
Lionel.
Lionel for the train, but for the slot
cars.
For like it was Tycho and AFX.
AFX, that's it. AFX.
AFX.
And
they were the nice ones.
Once again, you had to choose what kind of track you had because the cars that my brother was into, where you can just get a 57 Chevy, a Charger, or whatever, like a non-race car,
muscle cars.
They were slightly smaller in scale than the NASCAR ones. Like the Formula Ones were bigger, you know what I mean? And that was the difference between the Spike and the Blade that we were just talking about. But it was an amazing thing, and you could do so much with it. And we would just go back, and then it was funny there because like you go past where you want to go. Hey, I'm over here. All right, I'll be right around.
And of course, you take the turn too fast, and it flies off the track across the room.
There's a lot of accidents.
Yeah, my F1.
We have an ambulance.
My two F1 cars, they didn't have the little front spoilers that come off the front nose cone anymore because they would fly off and land on the concrete floor. And there goes that piece.
But the cool thing was too, like especially back then, they incorporated like there was. I had a Knight Rider.
Car. They had a Knight Rider. They had an A-Team.
A-Team. I had A-Team.
They had a Smokey and the Bandit set where it was the Trans Am, the police car, and the semi.
Yes.
They had a Starsky and Hutch.
Starsky and Hutch. Yeah.
Torino.
The Torino.
Torino.
We had that too. My brother made sure we had all that.
They had
anything you could think of.
Bullet.
Okay.
The Mustang from Bullet.
Right.
Anything you could think of, they had it.
And it was just such a great time and stuff like that. And I feel for the kids nowadays because they really don't know. And like I look at my daughter, and my daughter, for the life of her, really cannot do imaginative play. Like it's not in her to do. And she's a very athletic kid and stuff like that. And I'm like, God bless you, you're athletic. I wasn't athletic like that. But like the thing was, I'm like, but it goes to say, I said, being imaginative is not just you playing. It actually shapes you in a lot of different ways. How you think about the world, how you see the world, how, I think in all honesty, people that can do imaginative play well are also the people that can come up with solutions to problems, are also the people that can look at something from a different angle and come up with a different way to do things. And that's why, you have people that can sit there and say, well, no, you can't do that because of this. I can look at it in both ways. I can look at it on both sides and stuff like that. And I feel for the kids nowadays because I don't think they can do that.
I mean, it's a bit of cliche, but I mean, it teaches you to forces you to think outside the box.
It does. It really does. And if I ever had lessons taught to me, it was by myself. Honestly, playing.
Okay, that sounds a little weird.
Yeah,
but
not to mention too. I was an only child, so and unfortunately, a lot of the people around me, I had like older cousins. A lot of the other people in the neighborhood, they were older. So a lot of times too, I was playing by myself, just because there was nobody close by my age or close to my for certain things, and that really kind of.
But you know what though? Let me tell you something. I played by myself because I preferred to, because nobody else
could make the rule,
could do what I was setting. And I had rules to play. Like when I was in, like, remember when we were kids, you used to have like the turtle pool?
Yeah.
The plastic turtle, it had the little slide and stuff like that. I used to get in the summer, every day, I'd get the hose, fill it up to the top, and I'd take all my He-Man guys in there. And He-Man, you know how He-Mans are, like this. And I said, when He-Man swims, I want it to be realistic. So I'd make him splash as he was swimming. So I'd make him, that's how he swam. Because he had to swim like a real person. Okay. Yeah. And if somebody else came over and started playing, they were sweating, and they were just going like he's not a fucking dolphin. Yeah. Swim. I mean, that type of thing. And
And when you're playing war, it's not like, oh, I got you. No, you didn't. You didn't get me. Yeah, I did. I'm the director here. I'm the producer. Sit down, shut up, play your part.
Yeah, and that's the way I did it, right? And,
yeah,
like Mask and stuff like that. I was like, no, you can't.
Oh, yeah, Mask. That was another great one.
Yeah, Mask was great. I enjoyed Mask highly.
Try finding one of those switchblade helicopter plane things on eBay. But I'm saying try find it on eBay for like in good condition for less than like $300.
Oh, I know.
Good luck. You get broken ones that are for parts that are going for like $70, $80.
40 Mass?
40 Mass.
Did it really?
I have the full Rhino, and it works.
Oh, see, I never had Rhino. I had what's his name with a what was that Asian guy's name?
I forget, but
with Rhino, right?
Yeah, but his mask was like the lifter. It could like levitate shit, right?
No, there was Jack. Well, yeah, maybe it was Lifter. Lifter. Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, because there was always Lifter on.
Yeah. I had two Matt Strikers. One was from the Matt Tracker. One was with the Datsun. Yeah, what was it? 280Z.
Yeah, the 280Z, and then he had the Camaro.
No, the red Camaro. 280Z, but then he was also in with the Asian guy in Rhino. Remember? Because
then you're thinking about because Matt Tracker had the Camaro. It was the red Camaro.
Right.
I don't think it was a Camaro.
He had a Camaro. Trust me, dude. You're talking to a gearhead. It was a Camaro. Yes, it was a Camaro. It was It was like an '84 Camaro IROC.
I thought it was 280Z.
No, he had the Gold. And the other playset that he had the playset, the gas station playset.
I have Boulder Hill.
Yeah,
that came with
Matt Tracker.
No, it didn't come. It came with the bald guy
with the beard.
That had Jackrabbit.
Right.
And then who was the guy that had the Andy Cap? He looked like Andy Cap, and he had the green. I forget. The mask was like real small and it was green, and I don't know if it shot projectile. It didn't shoot anything, but like the mask did projectiles or something. I forget what he did. But those two came with Boulder Hill. I had a Matt Tracker, which had Matt Tracker's original thing when he was in the red car, which was Thunderhawk.
Yes,
it was called.
Yes,
was Spectrum, right?
Yeah,
right.
But then when he was riding in Rhino with the Asian dude, he had Ultra Flash, which was a red and black helmet,
the rounded one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Ultra Flash, and I think it was just like it shot like a blinding beam of light to stop you from seeing or whatever it was. But he did co-pilot on occasion with the Asian dude because the Asian dude couldn't be trusted. Asian dude was stealing shit from the fucking glove box. That's why I parked my car. I can't you there.
What the fuck, man?
Imagine the play. There's got to be a reason why he had another helmet. Then I had the Hurricane with who was that black dude? It was in Hurricane. But he had
Hurricane was the 57 Chevy, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was
black dude had blaster,
right?
But there was two different blaster masks. It ended up being the same power, but he had a small mask, which was like a visor in the cartoon mostly, and then the newer cartoons, and they released
Hurricane. When they released it, they gave him the full mask,
but he was in a really colorful, like red and yellow.
Because they gave him crap because they gave the show crap because of you're just going to give the black guy the sunglasses.
Yeah, sunglasses. Like,
That's his mask. Sunglasses.
It's almost like Black Lightning. Like, how did I not know who you are?
What's next? You get sunglasses and malt liquor and gold chains.
And he ended up being like my favorite one to go because his costume was cool as shit.
Yeah.
It was like orange. It was like red and yellow. And then the helmet was red and yellow and had a little bit of blue in it. It was like neon colors.
Mm-hmm.
He was cool looking as shit. And then you switched the top.
Mm-hmm.
It rose up to where it had 6 wheels instead of 2.
Right.
And then out of the windshield, a gun turret
came
out. You know
became like a little 6-wheeled tank.
Yeah, right. And then you hit the bumper, and there was a wheel, like a tire on the back that shot off in the back. Mm-hmm. It was the coolest thing in the world.
Love those toys. That was one of those toy lines that, like, unfortunately I never actually had any of the toys, but thankfully I had friends who did, and it was like anytime I could get over to their house, it was like,
well,
I'm coming.
When I got those, it was right around, I was at Christmas time, and at the time I was wrestling for the middle school, and about 2 weeks before Christmas was going to be our last meet before winter break. And the kid did a move wrong, and he broke my collarbone in half. Like, literally, he pounced on me, and it compressed me, and my collarbone popped in half. It broke in half. So I was in, not traction, but I was in, like, I had the
like a halo,
the bra, the bra,
yeah,
bra, to hold my collarbone down. And I had to wear that for like 18 months, but like it just happened, so I couldn't move my arm. My arm was like this. And it was Christmas morning, and my brother was putting all this shit together, like Boulder Hill, and he was putting the cars together and stuff like that. And when he was done, I'd be laying on my side, just kind of like watching him because I couldn't really get up. And he was like rolled them into my head. Here's another one. And he was rolling, oh, it looks great. Thank you very much. You know, like, meanwhile, I'm getting like starting to bleed out of my eye. But that's the kind of shit that's what we did.
I know we gotta go.
Yeah,
but I've been wanting to show this all show. I've been cleaning up my basement, going through all my old stuff, and I don't know if the camera can get that.
Get that in there. There you go.
But look who I found.
Oh yeah. Oh, Gojira.
Fully functional. Nothing.
And why does his face look like King Kong?
Dude, it was the 80s, man.
I know. Well, that's what they did. They combined molds.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. That was the other thing, trying to figure out, that's the mold for this one. Like, when we figured out that there were molds, and you were now able to say, why does he look like so-and-so? I know why he looks like so-and-so. Because they were cheap and they used the same mold. Oh, I get it. You know what I mean? Great show. We got to do another one of these. We'll do a volume 2, I think, of toys. Because there's so many toys to talk about, and we can talk about certain toys specifically.
Dude, I haven't gotten into my laser tag and photon wars.
Yeah, I mean,
laser tag.
I had photon. I know I had photon, not in the game, like in the live sense, but I had the action figures.
I did,
and the action figures did the same. Cody, and the forearm guy, and you could shoot them from across the room. And I had Captain Power.
I had Power, and I had Tank.
Okay, I had Major Hawk Matterson, the blue one. And I had Captain Power in the jet, and I figured out if I shot it into the mirror that I could
blow it
do the same thing, right? But then when I finally sat down and did it in front of the TV and did the TV thing, I was scoring, and then they were scoring on me. And I was like, "Oh, this is great!" Like a little schoolgirl. It was fantastic.
One of these days, we're gonna pull out like a lot of our old toys.
Yeah, that would be cool. Just bring.
Matter of fact, just not even we
show and tell,
or just put them on the a website and have them up there so people can scroll through the gallery of toys.
Yeah, I think that would be really neat. I think that would be a really cool thing, and maybe I could do it on the DJBProductions.com page for this show. We can do something on there, or even we could just do I could do a video of toys. Just do a video of toys, like a little like montage. I'll have Matt put some music behind it.
Yeah.
And then we'll do it like that and do like a nice little montage and throw it up there as a little 10-minute, 5-minute video, something like that. That'd be kind of
cool. I wish I could bust out all my old toys. Unfortunately, I had a little incident like in like 6th or 7th grade where I had some really terrible grades and my mother destroyed most of them. It was like you'll get these back when your grades are up. And my grades did not come up, and I'm saying probably about thousands of dollars now worth of collectibles gone in the trash.
I have not seen my toys since '98. That's when I moved out of my parents' house with my wife now. And they're supposedly supposed to be up in the attic, but I'm never allowed up in the attic. So I have a feeling like somebody did something. I think somebody did something to them. Because I
AKA the landfill.
I'll tell you something, because I had, no lie, you know, like a box that would house a washer dryer.
Yeah.
I had a box like that, and they put everything, because I had the original Batman collection from the movie, 89 movie. I was spending $80 a week at KB Toys, going into the bins and collecting and completing sets. Because back in the day, it would be sets of 5 or 6 figures for the space collection, for the underwater collection, for whatever it was. And it was mostly, I used to always get like Marvel. So it was a lot of Spider-Man, which is my favorite, a lot of X-Men, that type of thing. And so I had figures all over my bedroom. Like you couldn't even walk in there without making stuff fall down because vibrations would start domino effects and all. And all those toys are at my parents'. Like I said, I have the superpowers. I have the Batmobile, like you said, where you push the thing and the lights go up and stuff like that. And you press the shifter and the bumper comes out and stuff like that.
Always wanted that fucking thing.
I love it. I love it because it was one of the first things I got with the main collection. But they're at my parents' supposedly. I don't know. I hope they are. But but we'll do like a volume 2 on that and something like that. But do us a favor. Hit the subscribe button at the bottom. At the bottom, share the video, like the video.
Yeah. Make sure you hit that bell for the notifications too, so you know when we put new stuff up.
Yeah, honestly, because you know what, we don't bother people. I don't put new videos up every day, so don't worry about if I do that, I'm gonna get dinged with that. You're not.
With the boat.
We put up the videos a lot of times in bulk. So you'll get like 3 episodes up at the same time, and you won't get another thing up for like a month. So it's very innovative. It's very easygoing. Non-invasive.
Yeah, that's what you were looking for.
That's what I was looking for.
The invasive.
I was looking for the invasive. Yes. Shocker. But yeah, go ahead. Subscribe. Subscribe, and share and like the video.
Plus, if there's stuff that you would like for us to talk about or touch upon,
hit us up in the comments.
Absolutely. We welcome all the comments, good, bad, or indifferent.
If there's any corrections or anything like that, or tell us in the comments. Tell us about toys that you like. Give us some of your favorite. I would love to hear about it and stuff like that, and I'll talk about it right on the show here.
Because technically, this is your show.
Yes,
we do what we're doing, but we're here for you.
That's right.
So we want to make sure that you hear the topics and the toys and the comics and everything that you love.
Yeah, that's right.
So hit us up. We'll get the information. You can send us the information and we'll talk about it.
Sounds fantastic. I like the idea.
Hell, we'll mention you.
Yeah, make sure you tell us who you are, and we'll give you a shout out right here on the show. So, and because we're really over. So
way over.
So for Matt LeGrand, my name is Danny J. Until next time, we'll see you. The wrong show. Keep your cape in the wind and your eyes to the stars. Goodbye, everybody.